just want to thank ICEERS for inviting me to this wonderful Congress. I would never have imagined 56 years ago when I first went to the Amazon amongst indigenous peoples that there would be a Congress of this sort about one important plant, ayahuasca. Congratulations on organizing this wonderful Congress for us. And I have a distinguished panel here to follow up a topic that certainly I'm enthusiastic about, what plants are telling us. I grew up in the Hebrides of Scotland, amongst the fairies and other things, and the plants talk to you there. And so it is an interesting thing that this came back when I started working with indigenous peoples. Well, I will introduce the speakers one by one as they talk. And our first speaker is Dr. Vera Froés. She is a historian from the Federal University of Acre in Brazil, an ethnobotanist. She trained in Lucknow in India, one of the Indian centers of ethnobotany. And she also studied at Fiocruz in Brazil. She's vice president of the Institute of Cultural and Environmental Studies. And I think one of the important things about her, she's author of a book about Santo Daime. And this is her book. So, Dr. Vera, it's open to you.
Vou parar lá? Acho que ficou muito alto aqui. Bom dia, para mim é grande prazer e uma honra.
Good morning. It is a pleasure and an honor for me to be here. I'd like to once again congratulate the organization for this fantastic event to spread the knowledge of ayahuasca and indigenous plants. So, congratulations. What are plants telling us? Shamans, herbeiros, healers, curanderos, they establish a synchronized dialogue with the vegetable world. They exchange energy, feelings, and with the plants, they learn how to use and combine their properties. Shamanism is an ancient art, well understood by native peoples, because they understand that nature is part of their family. Shamans get in touch with the original essence and then with the biomolecular dimension to find a diagnosis and how to heal a disease. So the physical and the spiritual come united. This is possibly the explanation of the big enigma which appears to be wonderful for many botanists such as Schultz and Meyers, how with thousands of species, the indigenous people in South America managed to find the combination of this liana and this bush to create ayahuasca. That intuition, that sensitivity, the cultural knowledge and the gift expressed in the genetic code of each shaman includes communication with the plants. This is a communication between what's visible and what's invisible, and through this communication, myths and chants and songs of power come to be. In all civilizations, we find the myth to do with the creation of the world, Mother Earth, Pachamama, the female power. And this myth is also to do with some wonderful beings which are symbolized by the snake. The word ayahuasca means the snake that seeks the light. In Amazonian mythology, enchanted beings become animals, people and plants. And they live in an underwater paradise. The snake lives in this subaquatic paradise, which symbolizes the primal water, the cradle of creation. As an example, in the Amazon, we have the Boa Blanca mother of the Sui Queens, who is the guardian of knowledge, and she inhabits this paradise. And she brings the power to heal disease and to achieve knowledge. Now, the snake and DNA represent a ladder, and they appear as a symbol in all civilizations which use heterogeneous plants. In all 5 continents, we have lots of examples of shamanic spiral staircases, woven staircases, which are a symbol of a liana, a rope linking heaven and earth. Through this rope that the gods used to come down to earth and men used to go up to the heavens. The staircase to heaven is a link to the cosmic snake, which is part of the symbol of healing and communication. In cosmic ADN, there is a portal that links heaven and earth, spirit and heart, giving us the possibility to gain access to more inspired, more elevated levels of conscience. In this sense, the rational mind and alchemists and scientists know that we are all one, from Paracelsus to Narby. There have been 4 centuries of research to prove what the indigenous tribes already knew. Paracelsus developed the law of signatures with its virtuous geometry. Over 500 years ago, he said that plants are the elemental elements, so that a plant is a body of the element. It's the spirit of the plant that gives us life, the power, that's what he says. And Watson and Crick discovered the structure of ADN, which is the snake, 2 interwoven lines and a spiral movement. When they started gathering scientific information, ethnobotanic and astrology could see that everything that appears in microcosmos is also in the macrocosmos. All of the beings which people the planet come from the very same DNA, which is the creative source. But if our GPS has disconnected us from the creative source, the plants will keep giving us coded messages for us to reconnect. These messages help us connect, not just to the vegetable world, but to ourselves and to the whole planet. So, what are the main keys of these messages? The plant senses these messages, and they're coded messages. The first message is accurate observation. The second message is interdependence. The third message is impermanence. And the fourth message is diversity. The first key is accurate observation. When we look at nature closely, we focus on that relationship, and when we focus on it, we emit energy to our brain which helps synapses in the neurons. So we are present in the here and now. This accurate, focused observation is crucial. Paracelsus suggested that a creative being placed its signature on nature so that through the form of the plant we could recognize its properties, its virtues. This is a clear example. Achillea millefolium, a plant with the highest subdivision in leaves. If you look at it closely, you can see how Achillea millefolium is the plant to do with the circulatory system, with the veins. It's the plant that helps us heal varicose veins. Systemic observation is also placed on the habitat and the behavior of the plant. If we look at nature closely, we will see what element the plant belongs to. For example, Aloe Vera is a fire plant. It's a plant that needs lots of sun, not a lot of water. It used to be said that the plant, Aloe Vera, would burn our karma. So Aloe Vera has the property of healing difficult diseases, such as some cases of cancer, intoxication, serious skin conditions. Again, looking closely at nature, we'll find this virtuous geometry that the Creator gave us, this perfect symmetry. Everything is in identical geometrical proportions. We see it in nature, plants, flowers, monuments, and esoteric writings. From the ancient Greek and Arabs and the Renaissance, they used this golden rule, the Horus geometry, to infuse art and human spaces with beauty. The second key, as we said, was interdependence. On planet Earth, there is a huge network where all beings are interconnected, even if they're not aware of it. The basic relationship is photosynthesis or breathing. The key influence of the climate on us. What happens in Africa will affect what happens in the Amazon forest. If this interrelationship is broken, habitats will disappear, there will be catastrophe, there will be physical and psychical disease. A clear example of this interdependence is flying rivers. We all know that it rains quite a lot in South America on the coast, but in the central regions should be pretty much deserts, as we can see here, because they are at the same latitude as other desertic areas of the planet. But they're not desert. It rains. Why does it rain in this region, which is Sao Paulo, Mato Grosso, all the way to Buenos Aires? Well, it rains thanks to the Amazonian forest, the tropical forest, the Amazonian jungle with its centuries-old trees. It gathers steam, damp and particles, which is those flying rivers, invisible rivers, which go towards the Andes and then from there south, east, so that there is abundant rain in the Amazon jungle, in the tropical forest. There are thousands of liters of rainwater coming down every day. Now, what keeps all of this going? The indigenous people who live in the Amazon. They are the true guardians, the keepers who deserve our help so that they can go on protecting their land and their way of being. The third key, the third message is impermanence, which reveals that everything is in constant transformation. In nature, everything is in constant movement. There is perfect alchemy. Under the earth, plants transform phosphorus in sulfur, magnesium in lime, nitrogen in potassium, and above the soil, there is also constant transformation. Seeds germinate into flower, fruits, and the whole vegetative process is gone through. Flora gives us the foundation to understand the cycles which account for harmony and health in nature. These are constant cycles, but they are impermanent. The seasons of the year, the influence of the moon, the tides. This understanding, this knowledge, is the basis for healing at a planetary and individual level. The plants are in synchrony with the cycles. They flow with this transformation. They fulfill their role. Man is also transformed in rites of passage, life and death. I'd like to share my experience of rite of passage. A birth. Doctors told me I could not have a natural birth. I would be placing my life and that of my daughter at risk. However, thanks to ayahuasca and the women who helped me navigate this cosmic energy in rivers, I could have this natural birth of my daughter Vera Luis, with this pact with nature, with Mother Earth, a pact in which we celebrated the joy of life. The fourth message is diversity. Diversity tells us the coexistence of difference is essential. Nature has no prejudice. the greater the diversity, the more stable the habitat will be. There is a universal law that says that nature renews itself with the creation of new species and the elimination of others, constantly adapting to the goal of maintaining ecosystems. Although there might be different species competing with space in the jungle, there will be harmony and balance. Biodiversity is maintained in coevolution. Evolution is an upwards spiral, like DNA itself. The big chestnut tree, 50 meters long. Well, the chestnut fruit will only be pollinized if a small bee does its work. And the bee can only come to be if there is a certain orchid which lives in the canopy of trees. So there is no being which is more important than others. All beings are important, they're all linked to the creative source. Nature knows no discrimination, no part is better than others. Whereas the human kingdom is becoming increasingly homogeneous based on a system of exclusion and limited beliefs. But then the woods agro-silviculture is a system of agriculture which imitates nature, which teaches us how to be sustainable based on biodiversity and the preservation of the genetic source of native seeds. Okay, we have a reflection on the keys, if technology allows. We can reach some reflections. We have the key to understand what the messages are telling us. We have the key. We have the gate to knowledge. The knowledge which is available to all, particularly those who use visionary plans, who know how to decode information. Vegetable technology works with a powerful interface that gains access to cosmic DNA. Vegetable technology establishes a dialogue with digital technology, creating quantic culture based on individual conscience for collective action and the common good. The focus is on the relationship. No being is greater than another. We are all linked to the creative source. The keys open our contact with intuition and creativity. The keys together help us open the gate to the new paradigm, which is sustainability, the creation of self-managed networks. This network of cooperation is what allows for life on the planet. Thank you.